I don't, because I'm such a purveyor of psychedelics, people are forever leaning on me to trip with them. And I dare say, there are people in this room who've known me for years, and no one here can say they've ever been seriously loaded with me, because I just don't do it. I can't take it. I can't handle the feeling of risk that permeates that. That's why it amazes me. I'm fascinated by people who have such faith in their knowledge that apparent difficult situations don't freak them out. As an example, some of you know Frank Barr. He's an emergency room doctor. And I'm amazed that he can deal with people who are dead out unconscious and just say, she'll come to in 40 minutes or so, don't worry about that. When I would be frantic. I mean, if I can't get a reaction out of somebody, I just go berserk. And the notion, I don't know whether that's a kind of callousness. Therapists are like that. I mean, they say, you come upon somebody flopping around on the floor, screaming, pleading, weeping. My inclination is to make them feel better, for God's sake. And a therapist would just say, well, they're working through their stuff. It's all right, How do you get that level of self-confidence where you can see somebody in agony and say, that's all right, it's the best thing for them. Check on them in an hour and see where they're at. It's awfully... so I stay away from it. And in my own situation, I keep people away from me. I've had many trips where I've thought in the middle of it, thank God there's no one here to see this. Because if there were someone here to see it, I'm sure they would become alarmed and decide that some crisis was in progress. And, ultimately, you have to sort of get a kind of perspective where you just say, if I die, I die. But it usually has to slam you to the wall pretty severely to make you turn. The image I have is that I run from it until I become so furious at this humiliating situation that I turn and face it. And then, if you curse it, it will step back sometimes. And it's worked every time. The other thing is, the wonderful instinct for equilibrium that the human mind has, that you can get pretty twisted around. And if you'll wait 24 hours, 72 hours, 10 days, 6 months, it will restore to equilibrium. I'm puzzled by the cases of permanent raving madness, and I wonder how common they are. It's all messed up in this society. I mean, I can show you psychiatric residents who have never seen an unmedicated schizophrenic in their entire life, because they just do not encounter people in that state. What they deal with are people who come in and been given drugs and kept on drugs and drugs. That's the whole dynamic.